In the last video, we created the functionality to where we can click the text shadow button, give it a spread, and then we can go over use the color picker to click a color, and when we hover off the color picker, we call that function and set the color. But like our font color, we can see it as we're hovering over. So let's do that with our text shadow so that when we hover over our colors, we can change the color. So let's go to the code, and remember where we hovered over the function to where we hovered over the color pickers right here. So what we do, we declare the variable color, which is the attribute of this, the TD tag that we're hovering over, its ID attribute. You remember when we made our for loop, we created the hashtag, the # with our hexadecimal number. That's the ID. So we're detecting whether the font button has the class of active button, and if that's the case, we get the ID, our text ID, creative clerk, and set its color to the color. So let's create another if statement. Let's say else if. So in parentheses is where we're going to put the condition, and in brackets we're going to put what we're going to do. So let's copy this, the get the font button, to determine whether that has the class, and instead let's determine whether the text shadow button has the active class. And if that's the case, let's copy this and let's set the text shadow, let's set the CSS of our text element, but this time we're going to set the text shadow. And this is not as easy as what it was before. So what we need to do, remember, the text shadow property has multiple values and they're all separated by spaces. So we had the vertical, the horizontal, the vertical, the spread, the color, and then we separate those by commas and we can create other levels. Remember, we created 3 levels, so we had to create 3 levels here. So let's add a space, and then plus we're going to add the horizontal. This is a variable that we'll make in a minute. So then we need to add again a space, and then we need to add the vertical, and then what do we need to add after the vertical? A space again. And then we need to add the spread. Remember, we have 3 spreads, but this is going to be the first one. So what comes next? The space. And then we have our color. But then we start our second level, so we need the comma and the space. Now our second level of vertical and horizontal are 0, 0. But actually they can go inside the string because we're not using variables. So now remember, we have to have the space between the vertical and the spread too. Okay, so then we add a space before we add our color. This is, again, a color. Then we need to add plus, space and a comma. This is going to be level 3. And our vertical and horizontal, which are 0, but our spread 3. And then we need to add the space again, and then our color. Okay, now we have to create those variables, horizontal, vertical, and spread 1, spread 2, and all that. So we have our variables defined inside of our generate CSS function. So let's copy those. And then let's go up here where our hover function is. And right under the color variable, let's paste our other variables. Okay, so now we have all our variables. And let's go ahead and give it a try. I'm going to give the font a dark color. And then the text shadow, I got to give it a spread first. I need to see something there. And here it is. When we hover over it, we can change the color. And when we click a color and hover off, it becomes that color. And now that is working exactly the way we wanted it. And we can change the horizontal and check the color, or the spread. We can give it, actually let's give it less spread and a little bit of vertical. Okay, so in the next video, let's create a function that syncs these inputs with these numbers, these range sliders, and let's create a code block for our text shadow. Anyway, so yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll do that. I'll see you in the next video.